Hey, I'm Adam Gilad from the Smart Daters Academy and the Happy Couple Academy, where we take relationship skills, dating and relationship skills, as seriously and with as much care as we do our professional lives. So we're skill-based relationships, and one of the skills you want to have in a relationship is getting your needs met, because if you've ever been in a relationship and you haven't gotten your needs met and you kind of simmer in resentment, you know how much fun that can be. So let's start with how to get your needs met in relationship. This is one of the fundamental skills to creating a happy, communicative, grown-up style relationship. All right, let's begin. So first thing you do to lower the temperature and make sure that the person can hear you is to simply describe the situation. So you start the conversation by offering just a straightforward description of the situation you want to address, and I'll give you an example. You leave out analysis, you leave out interpretation, you leave out emotion, any inflammatory or accusatory language, and you make it specific, impersonal, and objective as possible. For example, you might say something like, hey, honey, our relationship has been difficult lately. We've been fighting a lot more than usual. Or, the bedroom is messy. There are a lot of clothes on the floor. See what's missing? There's no blame, there's no shame. And when you say that, the other person really can't argue with you because you're just stating an objective fact. Another one, hey, we're $1,500 over budget this month, rather than, how could you spend all my money, you awful bee? We haven't had sex in 2 months, rather than, hey, you're frigid, or hey, how come you're so bad to me, right? Rather than making it personal. Or I feel stuck at home and I haven't seen my friends for 3 months. So these are objective statements. That's how you begin, because they can't argue with you. Now you add your feelings. So that's the second thing. So for example, feelings are non-blaming I statements, right? It's not venting and it's not accusatory. This isn't the time for catharsis. This is being, like I call it, smart and professional about communication, because you're not creating resistance yet. You simply want to accurately convey the nature, intensity, and cause of your feelings, right? Whatever it is. So before you begin the conversation, you want to make sure you get as specific as possible about the feeling. You want to be prepared. So once you've identified the broad feeling that first comes up, like angry or sad or upset or hurt, all right, MFP, which is the source of a book called Couple Skills, where I draw a lot of this from, suggests narrowing down the nature and focus of the feeling. So the more specific you can be, the more it'll get through. So begin by making your broad feeling more specific by adding some synonyms. So when you say angry, do you mean stressed, furious, irritated? It makes a difference. So you want to be as specific as possible. Or are you just confused or disappointed rather than mad, right? The more specific descriptors you can use, the better. Now, once you've been specific about exactly how you feel, because it'll land better, now you can add intensity, right? So you don't start out with intensity. You can turn it up to 11 if you want, but make sure it's accurate about what you're feeling. So are you a little bit resentful? Are you slightly discouraged? Or are you hugely depressed? You have to really be honest here with your partner, because if you're not honest, it won't land. So now we've added intensity. Next, this is a little formula here. Now it's duration. Okay, so how long have you been feeling this feeling? Have you been stressed since you lost your job, which makes sense, right? You want to communicate that well. Have you been are you depressed since you've met the person? That's important to know too. Have you felt irritated for days or for weeks? Got to get that in. Okay, once you've added duration, now you add cause and context. So what you want to do is you want to avoid making your partner the cause of your feelings. So one phrase you should never use, besides never, in relationship, and we'll get to that, is you make me. You make me feel anything. No matter how tempting it is, no one can make you feel anything. Even when I had little kids, I always said people can do things at you, they can't do things to you. So it's your choice. So mature relationship starts with taking responsibility for your own emotions. When you blame someone, you only get defensiveness, empathy, but not empathy, and certainly not understanding, and you end up being like MMA partners fighting it out. So let's look at the example of good and bad in terms of getting your needs met, right? And how to communicate. So the bad way is, hey, your clinginess is making me feel suffocated. Doesn't that sound like it would lead to a nice discussion? Versus, hey, I miss seeing my friends, right? Nice objective statement. Hey, your nagging is driving me crazy, right? No one would feel defensive about that. Versus, honey, when I get repeated reminders about, doing something before I have the chance to do it, I feel a little patronized and a little distant, right? You're such a slob versus, you know, I feel frustrated when there are things all over the floor because I want our home to be beautiful in every possible way, both physically and emotionally. Now that's nice contextualizing into the positive, and we can talk about that in this module and other modules. Another example, you've really been bringing me down. Blame and shame, right? They're going to get defensive, you're going to fight. Versus, you know, honey, I've been feeling kind of depressed and unhappy lately. Getting this overdraft notice makes me feel like you're not competent enough to handle our finances. Well, that's nice. Again, you're going to get a nice defensive response versus, hey, I really get worried about our finances when I see an overdraft notice arrive in the mail. So these are objective statements of what's going on. So once you set out the objective statement and you add intensity and duration and emotionality without blame and shame, you can now get your needs met. Now you're ready to make a behavior request either for yourself or for your partner. Say, this is the change I'd like to make. Okay, that is your setup. That's how to make sure your partner can hear it.